This right here is Derrick Allen with Sports Radio 930 exclusive just for the web. And also you can hear this on my blog, Derrick Allen, sportsradio930.com/Derrick Allen. And on our guest website, MickFoley.com. Or the real Mick Foley.
Real, not the real, just real.
Just real?
Real, yeah, I keep it real. Yeah.
I know.
I keep it real,
man.
And what I was doing here, this is good radio. Is
what's up? What were you doing?
I'm the only guest here who will be texting the winners of, not the winners, they were donors to my documentary on Santa Claus. For a certain amount of money, people could have dinner with me before one of my shows. And now I'm writing to them asking if it'd be okay if the son of the owner of the Jaguars sat in. Yeah.
Shah Khan's son is about to join you.
He's joining and dine with Foley, yeah.
Oh, wow. So. And the winners are going to be able to join all of you.
Well, I have to check with the winners because they are the way. You know, I can't just assume that Mr. Khan can come hang out with us. But I'm pretty sure that it's going to be okay.
And for those of you who are not picked up on this, who I'm sitting with, man, is the one and the only Mick Foley, man. Mick Foley, you might know him as Mankind, Do Love, Cactus Jack. I known him as my childhood hero personally. I looked up to you between the Cactus Jack character and then when I finally decided to watch WWF and Shawn Michaels. You two were
that's pretty good company. And I'm just asking, all right? You described yourself as, you said, look for a black guy with a knee brace. I happen to have a role in my show for a black guy with a knee brace. And this is an exclusive. Yeah, right. You're the only people going to know. And the show's almost sold out. So if anyone shows up because they're listening here tonight, we'll find out due to audience reaction. If you were willing to impersonate a German sex worker that I met in 1996.
I have no problem. I have no problem. I can do it.
You don't actually have to speak. But,
okay.
All right. Okay. There you go. I've got a role for you. We just have to cue up the music, make sure it works. And I haven't done this in a long time because I realized one thing. I've realized a number of things. But when I do these shows, you really, there's a old Bob Dylan song that says, "If you want somebody you can trust yourself." Right. And I realized that by having all kinds of intricate musical cues, I was giving other people the opportunity to mess up my to mess up my show. I did a really good show in New York City. I mean, and I really needed a good show in New York, and it went really well. But every music cue was off. Whether it was the Hulk Hogan music coming in 4 seconds too early, Santa Claus's music literally came in 15 minutes too late. It was meaningless. And then there's the last time I did this. There's a hug involved, a public hug, and I'm waiting for the music to kick in that I know it gets a great reaction. And I said, you got to cue it in at 3 minutes, 21 seconds. I won't tell you the song with the crescendo. And I ended up hugging it with Sam Roberts from the Opie and Anthony show. And I was like, okay, wait for it. Here it comes. And I hear this slow procession of violins. They started it at the beginning of the song. And at that point, I go, all right, I'm not going to do that piece anymore. But if you're in, we're going to try it right here in Jacksonville, all right? You will be the grand finale. And
no problem.
And only the viewers here, your listeners and your viewers. And if they're none of them, I'm going to be hot. Like, if you show up and then no one even knows, then I'll be hot. Because I traveled almost 6 minutes out of my way to be here, and I could literally hear. I have really good hearing in the one remaining ear. I could hear Whataburger calling out to me.
You too?
I'm a Whataburger fanatic, and outside of Texas, this is the only place where they have them. There's another place somewhere in Florida, but
Tallahassee. That's my home, and we have a lot of Whataburgers there.
But usually it's a cruel joke when I'm in the Florida area, or once in a while even in Georgia. I'll click in Whataburger. And on my GPS, and I'll travel it like 30 minutes out of my way is when I'm traveling 300-400 miles, and it will turn out to be like a former Whataburger that is now a generic Chinese restaurant. And I mean, I very seldom drop the F-bomb. I drop one a night usually on my show. It's pretty. I think it's pretty unusual. But I drop them in my car when I find out that what I thought was a Whataburger turns out to be anything but. You know. Yeah, I don't care if it's a charitable organization. If it's supposed to be a Whataburger and it's not, I'm going to be angry about it.
Well, I mean, did you get a chance to stop yet?
Not yet. No.
There's one both directions. Be honest with you.
All right. Okay. I'll be at one of them soon, so. If you want to see me and you don't want to go to the show tonight at the Comedy Zone,
no, you should go to the show tonight at 8 o'clock at the Comedy Zone.
I'll be going through the drive-through, fancy ride, fancy red minivan, going through the drive-through. Look for it, okay?
Oh man! So once again, tonight at the Comedy Zone, Sunday night at the Comedy Zone, Mick Foley will be doing stand-up comedy. Mick, what got you doing?
Yeah.
Stand up.
First of all, it's not when I say stand up comedy, and that's what it's advertised
that's what advertised as.
Oh God, I like that guy. I've literally had comics who were really good say, "Man, don't take this personally, but I heard you doing stand up. Like I didn't want to see it because they don't want to be embarrassed for me, because they don't picture me on stage telling jokes. What I do is I tell wrestling stories that are funny." And I'll spice them up a little bit, so they'll exaggerate things a little bit, but they're essentially true stories from my career. And they're the same things that people loved about the books, just told, with a little flair for the dramatic. So make sure I'm not going to be up there going, hey, what's the difference between Al Snow and an anus? One's a ring in the bum. Boom, baby.
Didn't you say that once on TV before?
I never used that on TV.
You never used that?
No, because honestly, that was the winner of a joke competition in the UK, and then everybody gets one's a ring in the bum, the other's a bum in the ring. You see,
crap! Now I got it.
That's my joke.
I just got it. Now.
You see,
okay.
You see, if you're at the show and I tell that joke, you have to pretend you got it. Because other people see other people around them getting it. Not that I tell that very often.
Well, I
guess I better laugh, and I can tell who actually gets it and who's only laughing because they.
I looked around to see if anybody else was like smiling.
No, nobody else got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like.
Yeah, but that's an example of what I won't be doing tonight.
So give us an example of what you will be doing tonight.
Well, I will be talking about that cell match, and I will be talking about how I was reinvigorated by that match after vowing never to talk about it again, because I'll get people, after I've talked for 4 I'll give you an example. Here's a stupid story, okay? Guy comes up to me in Kansas City after my show, and I can tell he's waiting to ask this question. He doesn't want to ruin my ruin my credibility. My street cred as a tough guy. And he goes, listen, I noticed that when The Undertaker threw you off the cell being this gigantic, it was legitimate 16. People can say it was 50, but it was 6 feet taller than a basketball rim. It's plenty tall enough. I don't need to exaggerate it. He says, I noticed that you landed on a table. And so I nodded my head, and he goes, it broke your fall, didn't it? And I was just looking at him, I said, yes, it did. He goes, so you didn't get hurt? And I said, not at all. And then I leaned in him and I said, it was a magic table. So there's an example of a stupid question that I won't answer, during my Q&A. So I set the tone right away. Don't ask me if it hurt. Yes, it hurt when The Undertaker threw me off the cell. But then tonight, and this is, something I won't give. I just gave you a little sample for free, all right? So you're either with me or you're not. If you're on the fence and you're like, no, that wasn't that entertaining, I don't think I'd like to see more of that, don't go, all right? But if you want to go, I'm not giving you any more for free. There's like 30 seats left, and they need to be filled by people who truly want to see that show. But I will entertain you, and I will exceed your limited expectations. And not only that, even if I do SUCK, because I don't know what we're allowed to say on the air, and I know the FCC can be tough.
Yeah, so when I say we'll bleep out what you just spelled out, but it's
really?
All good.
Even if you spell it?
I bleep it out. I mean, really? we might leave in the F.
Okay, all right. Wait, no, I just said S-U. S-U.
Oh, S.
S. Yeah, I didn't drop the F-bomb.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, that S sounded like an F at first.
Right? Go back to the video. I said S, even if I S-U-C-K.
Oh, well, you can say that.
Even if I suck, there's still a meet and greet afterwards. So,
right. But at the same time, man, you seem the coolest person in the room. You are the coolest person in the room.
That's not
here,
saying,
the coolest person
around here. That's by process of elimination. That's not saying.
Well, no, if you say so, okay, maybe I'm the coolest person in the room. But at the time when you're doing your comedy show tonight, the Comedy Zone, you will be the coolest person in the room. I mean, I doubt there's anybody who's going to come to this show not wanting to see you, and especially see your comedy. I went on YouTube. I had to go and watch.
I know,
and
but
listen.
some of those clips aren't. Some of those clips are from years ago where I didn't realize the business. I was like, it's not like wrestling where you do a promo and you get it and you have an idea, then you expand on an idea, and it's best when it's not worked on. It's truest and it's in its most honest form the first time you do it. So I thought, well, that's what comedy's going to be like, and it's not. You tell a story, and it shouldn't be filmed and seen. I'm going around asking people who I know filmed it, and I was like, hey, yeah, go ahead, film it, put it up, I'm awesome. And then you realize, no, this is a good story, but it could be so much better. And so I'm trying to get some of those old things off,
Man, once again, man, this is Derrick Allen. I'm sitting here across from hardcore legend, former multiple-time WWE champion, Mick Foley.
Here's the thing, I've got to find the courage. Got to find the courage. It really.
I mean, for someone who was thrown off of a cell, it's hard to hear you say that. You got to find the courage.
Yeah, I got to go back, and I really have to work on it, write it out, because that stings. When especially the guy doing the write up was like, well, if he wasn't who he was, he'd be doing open mics, and it's like, with all due respect, people work hard open mics. I'm not an open mic guy. If you go tonight, you'll see a really good show. For an hour, an hour and 20, hour and a half. It's a little bit different than going out for 5 minutes in front of going out for 5 minutes in front of an audience of 10 is really difficult. It takes an enormous amount of courage, honestly. That's the word I use, to get out there and do a show. It's not so hard once you know that it's going to go well and you're going to have a nice crowd on hand, as will be the case tonight. Most people are in my corner, but to go out there and try something new, especially when you've been hurt before, it's like going back into the dating scene after you've been hurt, Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'll go out and say, and for you guys, you're working on the wrestling thing. Every time you go out there, those are some of the toughest matches in front of the smaller crowds because, look around and, we've all wrestled in front of audiences. I don't think I've ever had single digits, but I've been close, Poco, West Virginia, 26 people, and certainly when I did started doing these shows, the hardest part was trying to understand why I would get 250 or 300 to an autograph session, and then only get 50 to a show because it was hard for people to understand. Probably anyone watching this is gonna be like, I understand. You suck. No. It'll be a good show.
But what made you want to transition your career into doing comedy?
Well, you know what? The Mankind character in 1999 benefited greatly from having comedic elements to the character. It was really right after Hell in a Cell where I thought, all right, I have to find another way to connect with the audience. Clearly that was a tough night and it hurt me for a long time. And if you go back in time, you'll see that the funny elements of Mankind, that later led to the Rock and Sock connection, started within a month of that Hell in a Cell match. That was it may not seem groundbreaking right now, but when Kane and I were getting ready to face the New Age Outlaws, who had the, if you're not down with that, I got 2 words for you.
Right.
And I said, if you're not down with that, I got 18 words for you. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And you had people actually counting the words. How did he know it was 18? And that might not seem groundbreaking, but that was when I started taking Mankind in a more a little slightly more humorous, humorous direction. And I ended up wrestling the Outlaws solo. Kane didn't show up for that match. SummerSlam. And I believe I was thrown into a dumpster, and then Kane was in the dumpster and hit me with a sledgehammer. I think that's what happened. And when I gave my interview a week after, I said I had 2 things going for me. One is it was a glancing blow, and number 2, I never looked that good to begin with. And people started getting all right, I like this guy. He's showing a human side, Here's one thing Brendan Burns told me about comedy and wrestling is that they're very similar in a lot of respects. But in wrestling, you play up your strengths as a performer. And in comedy, you play up your weaknesses because that's how crowds associate with you, because everybody's got problems. And, some comics don't get that, the ultra cool guys. And then they probably wonder where their audience is. Mm-hmm. A lot of, guys, I asked Jennifer Bloodsworth who does a great job. She won't be with me tonight, but Jen is a writer with WWE for 5 years, and she really wants to be a comedy writer for TV, but doing stand-up really helps exercise those muscles. And she said she was so happy to be able to do these shows with me because she just couldn't take going to a stand-up and hearing one more guy work out his hatred for women on a microphone. You know, it's just
that old school type of.
Yeah, it's just depressing. But I think the people who do connect with the audience, you know, they come across as very human. But with that being said, I think that's what a lot of people liked about Mankind is that in an era when, everyone's character was getting really rough and risque, like Mankind did show a lot of vulnerability and humor. And that came about after that Hell in a Cell. So that's actually like where I started getting the idea where I thought, wow, I can entertain people, with, physical actions. It's too bad, I'm really broken down, or else I would, if I could add physical comedy to my show, that'd be great. I can't, so I don't. But nonetheless, if you show up, you'll be entertained.
Well, everybody that's listening, definitely come out. Yeah. Comedy Zone, 8 p.m.
Guys, I've got to run. I can hear Whataburger calling my name.
You hear Whataburger calling?
It's calling me. It's calling me. So
which one? That number one? That number one's calling?
I usually go with the double. I don't eat the onions, even though I like them, because they stick around with me too long.
Oh.
And they just
linger a little.
Linger a little long. And at the meet and greet, everyone will be thankful I didn't go for the onions. I'll go with the double meat and cheese, and throw some other condiments on there. I usually never use them. Like the Balboa line.
Wow.
But I'll use. I'm going to be using condiments on my Whataburger just to be safe. I'll be using a condiment.
Personally, I always get the honey chicken biscuit.
Oh, come on. You know what? You guys are used to Whataburgers. That's why.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'm going to see another one. Actually, I'll see another one tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say, man.
I'll probably see another one.
See the same one
tonight. Let me see. What time is it now?
It is 3.
3? All right.
3-ish.
So if I have dinner with Tony Khan and the Santa Claus donors
right.
Like 6-ish, all right. So I better run now. And then after the show, meet and greet, I say I hit that thing again.
It'll be about 11, so you can get that breakfast. Get that breakfast menu.
It's like I'm talking rudely about a woman, right? I might hit it again in the morning. Now I'm talking about Whataburger, man. I would never actually talk about a woman that way. So just to be clear, there's a woman holding the it is a very female friendly show. Sometimes women in a great show of love and dedication will buy tickets for their significant other, and then they're surprised at how much they like it. And not that this is solely a women's issue, but this is an issue that affects everybody. But I have something I'm calling my Laughing in the Rain campaign, and it's where I donate all the money we collect at the meet and greet. Mm-hmm. And there's no charge, for autographs and photos, but we do sell 8x10s for $10, and then we donate all the money to a group called RAIN, which is the nation's largest anti-sexual assault organization. So I'm donating all these things through the end of September. And then we're trying to.
Is there a website they can go to?
People they can always go to RAIN, RAINN.org to donate. But this specifically for my thing is just based solely on my shows. After my shows, I'm trying to raise $10,000 through the end of September, and we're up to like $3,300 now. And so every night we're getting $500-$600, and we're just hoping it adds up to 10. So clearly, a guy who's doing that is he's going to make sure that it's a safe atmosphere for women. And even when I have a warm up comic like Will tonight, they say, what would you like? Or if they don't ask me, I'll just go out of my way and I'll say, no, don't do any, anything misogynistic, anything that could be construed as anti-female, because I will be angry at you. You don't want to see me when I'm angry.
I've seen this man plenty of times angry. Everybody, this right here has been an interview with Mick Foley. Check him out Sunday at the Comedy Zone, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Be there. Do not miss out on a opportunity of seeing like, man, just a legend doing something that that I will say, man, is I can't do it. So I'm not going to try it personally. But
I have some breaking news for you.
What's that, sir?
Looking at one of your cameramen, the one who's not a woman, is wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Almost match.
Hawaiian shirt. Bray Wyatt wears a Hawaiian shirt. Do you think anyone would notice if I snuck in the Santa Hawaiian shirt and Bray Wyatt wore it? Just wore it one time, and then there'd be that connection, the Foley Wyatt connection. He's wearing my Santa Hawaiian shirt. Just putting it out there. That's the way I roll. Come up with an idea. It might not work.
Okay, well,
if I bring it up to Mr. I'd say you just let him go out there with the shirt on, because if you bring it up to Mr. McMahon, he'd go, "Why the hell would I want to do that? Stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why would Bray Wyatt wear a Santa Claus shirt?"
Oh,
all right, guys. I'm out of here.
Very
okay?
much.
Have a nice day.